Hi, I'm Dr. Stephie Althouse, founder of Moms Never Sleep. What I'm going to ask you today and what we're going to talk about is, are you happiest? What do you mean, happiest? Well, with happiest, I mean, are you happiest, the happiest you've ever been in all areas of your life? Your family, your work, your own self, your social life, your spiritual life. Are you happiest in all of those areas? So that's what we're going to talk about. What does it really take to be happiest? Do you want an upgrade in how happy you are in those areas? Even if you're the happiest that you've ever been in all of those areas, maybe you want to be happier yet. So what I'm going to share with you today are the 8 most powerful ingredients that you need to be happiest in all areas of your life. Sounds good? What I'm also going to share with you is how you can supercharge the implementation of this formula that I'm about to give you. And think of your car. You put gasoline into your car, right? Now what if you had a magic additive that you could add to that gasoline that would transform your normal car into a super rocket that would shoot you into the stratosphere so that you can be the happiest and most successful in all areas of your life, more so than you ever thought possible. And that additive is called Mastermind. Now what the heck is a mastermind? Well, I'm a member and in fact the leader of a mastermind group called Mastermind Mindset. And we've been meeting for the last 5.5 years, every week, week after week after week. And we're following the footsteps of Napoleon Hill. You probably have heard of him. He's a very, very famous author of the book Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich. And very early on in his book, wherein he describes the success principles that he's extracted from interviewing thousands upon thousands upon thousands of very successful leaders of his time, and also some not so successful people of his time, over the course of 25 years. So in this book, very early on, he talks about the principle of masterminding. And he says that a mastermind is 2 or more people who work in perfect harmony for the attainment of a definite purpose. And he further says that you can actually borrow and use the education, the influence, and the capital of other people in order to implement and bring to reality your own life's plans. And furthermore, he says that you can, in this way, get more done in 1 year than you could on your own in your whole lifetime if you just depended on yourself. Now, is that powerful or what? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to connect the principle of mastermind with the 8 ingredients that I alluded to earlier. And magically, the 8 ingredients spell the word happiest. Okay, are you ready to go? All right, habit is the letter H in happiest. And what this really alludes to is that we need to have the right habits in order to support our goals, our dreams, our purpose. And you probably know already that there is a subconscious mind, we have a subconscious mind and a conscious mind. And the conscious mind is very, very powerful, and we're extremely proud of it, most of us. What we do with that is we come up with these visions and these dreams, and we set goals. But would you know it that our subconscious mind is actually in charge? 85 at least % of the time, maybe 90% of the time. People say, and it's been even studied quite a bit, that 90% of what we do every day is driven by habit. So think of your conscious mind of a CEO who makes decisions and hedges plans, and your subconscious mind are the workers. Now, if the workers are not in agreement with the CEO and they haven't bought in, they're not aligned, then guess what's going to happen? Not much, along the lines of the vision at least. So what we do in our mastermind is that we actually make sure that we support each other in forming the most empowering habits. And you see, sometimes when you're driving in the car, did you ever notice that a car can sneak up on you without you even seeing it? Well, that's your blind spot. So there are things hanging out, bad habits hanging out in your blind spot that you cannot see, that can ruin your chances for success and happiness in any one of the areas of your life, or maybe in all of them. And so what we do in our mastermind group is we point those out. But we don't say, "Rah, that was bad," but we do it from a heart-centered place. And we give constructive assistance. So let's move on to attitude. Attitude is basically about, that's the A in happiest. So attitude is obviously about the mindset. Are you willing to give to others without expecting something in return right away? Or are you aware that you can freely give and good things come back to you? And maybe not even from the same person. We call that giver's gain. Also, it's about, are you going to give up at the first sign of trouble? Or are you determined? Do you have persistence? Right? We all know that successful people have met adversity and they had to overcome it. So attitude is very, very important. And we support each other in that all the time. We encourage each other. And I know that what we do is, for example, at the beginning of each meeting, we have a little movie. And many of the times it talks about attitude and mindset. And so it raises our attitude over time. So let's go to purpose. Now, purpose is really where it all begins, right? Because if you don't know your purpose, if you're not clear on your purpose, what you really want to achieve, why are you here, right? Then you're drifting. You're just drifting. So how can you drive anywhere with your car if you don't know where you're going, right? You can't. So what we do in our mastermind group is we use Napoleon Hill again, and we establish what he calls the starting point of all achievement. And what this is a definite purpose definition, a statement. And it also includes a definite plan with dates and financial goals. What is the value that you're offering? Whose life are you impacting positively? What are you giving for what you hope to get? And when that is very clear, that is the foundation on which everything is built, on which you produce that feeling of happiest, right? So what we do in our mastermind group is we, first of all, sit together and we do write that statement, and then we discuss it. And what happens is that inevitably, the starting point of all achievement gets bigger, because someone will say, wait a minute, have you thought of this? And what about that? And then the vision was this big, and now it gets this big, or this big, or this big, right? Probably this big. And the excitement grows, and the clarity of purpose grows. Which brings me to the next part. The next P in happiest stands for planning. Because now that you know your purpose, you need to have a plan for how to get there. And that does, by the way, not mean that necessarily every step along that journey is predictable. We, in fact, teach each other and remind each other all the time that we must keep an open mind to see opportunities that we don't even know yet exist. Right? Because now that you're clear on your purpose, there's a part in your brain, it's called the reticular activating system, and it's really a filter, right? And that filter filters out a lot of things, and maybe some of the things that you actually want to see. So when you get clear on the purpose, now you actually have redefined your reticular activating system, your filter, and now you're realizing opportunities that were there all along, but now you see them. Okay, so we have to have a plan, but we also have to keep ourselves open to a change in plan that might get us there faster. So maybe we plan to walk there, to hike there, and all of a sudden somebody says, hey, I have a jet, let's fly there faster, right? So that's cool. So with that, we're talking about systems also. We need to have systems that drive it forward. We need to actually plan on how can our business not only get off the ground, but how can it grow? How can it be scalable? Because we just talked about purpose, remember? So in purpose, we decided we're going to impact a lot of people in a positive way. And if that is the case, you can't stay small. You got to grow. You got to grow big. And Michael Gerber says that in the E-Myth Revisited, for example. And he's one of the very famous people who say that. But it's absolutely true. We cannot stay small, so we have to have systems that are scalable. In our mastermind group, we remind ourselves of that. We remind ourselves that one day we want to leave this as a legacy to someone so they can continue without us. We also remind ourselves that if we can build in systems that other people can do who might not have breathed this and lived this for God knows how long, can contribute. So that's P for planning. Okay, so we are HAP. What's the next letter? I. I stands for innovation. Now, it's pretty obvious that if you have a lame idea with no innovation, it's probably not going to change too many people's lives. So what's important is that you get feedback, because we can only go so far in evaluating an idea. How innovative really is it? And what we do in our mastermind group is every other week we do a brainstorm, which we call a mastermind session. And so every time one of us is up on hot seat, and they will set the stage and say, here's an idea or here's a question, and then we put the duct tape on their mouth, not really, but virtual duct tape, and we say, please just listen now to the brainstorm. And we record it actually, so you can listen to it later. But what happens is an idea is stacked on the next idea, stacked on the next idea, stacked on the next idea. And before you know it, the idea has become bigger and better. And so much more life experience has flown into that than ever would have been available to you by yourself alone. That is why Napoleon Hill could truthfully say that you can achieve with a mastermind group more in 1 year than quite possibly in a whole lifetime. That's amazing. See, the other part is you have to be able to give honest feedback from a heart-centered place, because it doesn't do anyone any good if you say, yeah, but that is a really fantastic idea. You go, boy, go forward. And then you spend, if not to say waste, 2 years or so of your life pursuing something that was half-baked. So what we do is we make the idea better, we do give honest feedback, and we do that from a heart-centered place. Heart-centered, that's very important. So let's go to energy. Energy is positive energy. And positive energy is what you need to take action, the right kind of action, right? And so we talk about that, not only talk about it, but we actually actively support one another. We all feel down sometimes. So you have to be able to pick up a phone and call someone who's with you at the same attitude or mindset level and pick you back up and say, you know what, Steph, you can do this, And we all feel fear at times, right? I mean, if anyone ever says they don't feel fear at some point, they're lying, truthfully. Because biologically, that's in us, where we feel fear. But how do we deal with that fear? That's the question. And so that's what we work on in our mastermind group too. How do you get beyond the fear, dance with the fear, and do it anyway? So that brings me to S. And that stands for skills. Skills and techniques. Because you can have great habits, you can have a great attitude, you can have a great purpose, you can have great planning, you can even have a great innovative idea and all the positive energy in the world, but if you don't have skills, it still falls flat. Right? Makes sense. So now here's something to know about skills. We all know that we have to have skills. What I see a lot of times, though, is that people have a skill in a particular area, in a particular craft. Let's say you're urban farming optimist, right? And you know all there is to know about urban farming. Or let's say you're a technologist in particular technology sector. Or let's say you're a baker and you know all about baking cakes. That's fantastic. Now you have a lot of skill there, and what a lot of people do is they get better and better and better in that area. But they never step into another skill area. And maybe it's that skill area that they need to really excel, right? So maybe they need to learn another language, or maybe they need to learn how to market, or to sell, or to put on an event, or maybe to pick up a video camera, or how to learn how to do online marketing. So what we do in our mastermind on that is that we first of all complement one another's skills. So this person knows that person knows that person knows that. And wow, all of a sudden we have this much greater skill pool available to us, right? The other part is that sometimes we realize there's a skill that none of us is that good at. So then what we do is we actually invite speakers. We have this great platform where we can invite speakers to come and speak to us. So recently we invited Dan Bow, and he rocks at sales. And we said, Dan, we're planning to put on events, and we need to learn how to get people to come to our events. How do we do this? And next thing you know is we're putting on a workshop with him. Now, does that rock? Absolutely. That brings me to the last letter, and that is T. And T is not the beverage, but T stands for team. And that is probably one of the most important parts and one of the most overlooked parts of the equation of the recipe for happiest, because I see so many entrepreneurs, and in fact I've been there for way too long, where I didn't have that team, where I believed that everything has to be done by me because I didn't have the money to hire other people, whatever the excuse or quote-unquote reason was. So with a mastermind group, you have a team, first of all, and that's one level of team, right? And then you start to build the team around you in your own, that's specific to your own business. So for example, recently we had a conversation about how can we get more help and make a win-win situation, which is, by the way, another really important aspect of attitude, right? And so what we talked about is how to attract interns. And we only recently talked about this, and now I have an intern coming from France working in my business for 3 months. And I have 2 more interns who are local interns who are coming as well and helping out as well. And what I've realized is that yes, even if I don't pay them, I do pay them. I pay them in expertise, right? So it's not always money. People think that money is a big stopping block. But let me back from that and go back to team. Okay, team provides leverage. Team provides the thing that makes dreams really come to reality. So I want to close by saying this. In our mastermind group, we see each member as a solid pillar, and each person has their own definite business and business purpose. And we come together and we strengthen each other's pillars through the synergy that I just described, and through helping each other implement those 8 powerful ingredients that I just went through that spell the word happiest, right? And in addition, imagine these pillars carrying a roof, right? And that roof is something that we jointly create. For example, this event that I'm talking at right now. That is an outcome of that synergy. And that, again, is going to impact millions of people. And that is fantastic. So in summary, what I would like to tell you is happiest stands for habit, attitude, purpose, planning, innovation, energy, skills and techniques, and team. And I invite you to form a mastermind group or find one to join and step up and create happiest in all areas of your life. Thank you.